Saints. All right, Sean Payton, coach, one of the best NFL coaches. And I'm gonna be honest, that's a it's a very interesting thing when we talk about Sean Payton, the great NFL coaches and great NBA coaches. But we're gonna see what happens when he doesn't have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Just like what's happened to Belichick in New England, just like what happened to Popovich without Tim Duncan. I just want to see how he's going to fare because that this is going to determine how good you are, coach. Because Drew Brees was once in a generational talent. All right. The offense, quarterback Jameis Winston, and Taysom Hill are right now they're battling. Looks like Jameis has a little edge in camp, but once again, I think Jameis Winston is going to win the job at the end of the day. The running back position, Alvin Kamara. I mean, he could do it all. He can run in between the tackles. He can run outside the tackles. He can even be a receiver for you in a pinch, and he's proven that last year. I mean, he's going to get touches. The offensive line, they brought everybody. Ryan Ramczak, Teron Armstead, Andres Pete. I mean, they're solid. They protect Drew Brees last year, and they've continued to do the same. The tight end, Adam Trautman, he's unknown, but he has to step up because Jared Cook is no longer there. The receiving core is an enigma because something's going on between Michael Thomas and the organization. He needs surgery. He doesn't. He gets second opinion. Then he gets surgery. He's out. He hasn't been talking to them. So that's just very eerie. There's more there. And then Traquan Smith misses time and he just came back. So they're so thin a receiver. I don't know what they're going to do with Michael Thomas missing a lot of time. The defensive line, it consists of Jalen Dalton and Malcolm Roach. They're really good for a defensive line. Once again, Saints defense they're good. Cameron Jordan, defensive end. He's one of the best in football. Linebacker core, they said Demario Davis already is being phenomenal in camp. And he was checking receivers in practice. He actually was checking Traquan Smith on an out route that was 25 yards deep, and it was an incomplete pass. So he's doing really good. And that's what you want to see from your middle linebackers. Corners, Marshawn Lattimore. What can you say? He's one of the most aggressive corners in the NFL. And the safeties, you got veteran Malcolm Jenkins and Marcus Williams. Their defense is set. My overall prediction is I think the Saints are kind of like the Patriots last year, but their defense is coming back. They have a great offensive line and a running game. It's just going to depend on how Sean Payton can figure this thing out with Jameis and Taysom Hill. But I think Jameis is willing to step up even without Michael Thomas. And the difference between I think the Patriots this year and last year is Winston's got to sat behind Brees a year, and I think that matters. And I think they'll go 10-7. I think they will. All right, Craig. Saints.
All right. Sean Payton. Sean Payton is Sean Payton. Like he's one of the top coaches in the NFL. 64% win percentage. He's Super Bowl champion. But like you just said, like without Drew Brees, he's pretty much had Drew. I think he's had Drew Brees his whole coaching career with New Orleans. So without Drew Brees there, want to see what happens with him now in a full season. I know he's had stints where Teddy Bridgewater came in and Taysom Hill came in. I believe the record is 8-1 as without Drew Brees. So now he has to go full 17 games without Drew Brees. So want to see what happens this coming season. But still, with that being said, Sean Payton, like he's still one of the best coaches in the league. So no really knock on him. Obviously, their passing game is up for grabs. Like I'm looking at the depth chart now. One depth chart has Taysom Hill as the number one on the depth chart, and with Jameis second. So I kind of want to see how this plays out. Like I don't know. I don't think Taysom Hill is a 17 game starter. I don't. I think he can come in as like a gadget quarterback, or they get like a couple of packages for him, and he can do that. But as far as starting, like Jameis Winston at one point, I know he had 30 and 30, but he led the league in total passing yards. I mean, so he's not like and Taysom Hill, like he's never played a full 16, now 17 game season. So um, I think he's just good for here and there gadget plays, couple packages at the goal line or something like that, or whatever Sean Payton wants to draw up for him. But overall, I would stick with Jameis until he gives me a reason to put in Taysom Hill. I know they love Taysom Hill down there. That's pretty much why he's competing for the starting job. But I think if you want to win some games, I wouldn't put my whole coaching career on the line for Taysom Hill. The running backs, obviously, Latavius Murray, but Alvin Kamara is the star. I kind of want to see what he does without Drew Brees now. If they still can get him the ball like he was getting the ball last year, and in the past with his catching ability, if he can get more carries in the running game overall. And Latavius Murray is a solid backup running back as well. So, I think they have a solid top 5 running game if both are healthy and Kamara can get more touches, especially in the running game, because he's going to catch passes. I kind of want to see how that works out with Hill or Winston back there. So they still should have a solid running game. Their wide receivers are down this year. Seeing Emmanuel Sanders go, seeing Jared Cook go. Michael Thomas is still not going to be back for a while. He's on the PUP list, so who knows when he's going to be back. And when he does come back, if he's going to be healthy, he pretty much missed all of last year, and just hasn't looked like a top 5 wide receiver like he was prior to last year. So Traquan Smith is going to have to step up. Marquez Callaway is going to have to step up, and Deontay Harris is going to have to step up as well. These are kind of like no-name wide receivers out there for him, for Jameis in his first year with this team, pretty much, or Taysom Hill. Whoever quarterback is, they're going to have like no-name wide receivers they're throwing the ball to. But this is how players step up and make a name for themselves and develop and become a star in the league. Like, this is their time to come in and basically show what they can do, at least until Thomas can get back. But overall, I think Kamara is going to get majority of the reps as far as getting catches and things like that out of the backfield. So, but I do look for Smith and Callaway and Harris to have solid seasons, or a solid year this coming season. Teron Armstead, Ryan Ramczak, this is one of the better lines in football. Eric McCoy's there, so they have some beasts there. Pete is there at left guard. So the offensive line should be, once again, producing holes for Kamara and hopefully providing some type of protection for Jameis Winston. The defense is still pretty good, even though they lost Janoris Jenkins in the secondary. They still have Marcus Lattimore. Marcus Williams is there. They drafted Paulson Adobo, so they have that rookies there as well. And then you look at their linebackers, Davis, Alexander, Crawley, like even the rookie they drafted, Pete Warner. So their defense is that was never the issue coming into this season anyway. It was just kind of the cap situation and trying to pay players and things like that. Cameron Jordan on the defensive line, Marcus Davenport on the defensive line, like Malcolm Roach, like these are big time names, and they're going to have to anchor that whole defense. I think they're the key, because I don't know what you're going to get out of Jameis and Taysom Hill, whoever is back there, and this whole wide receiver situation. Maybe teams key on Kamara more. I think they try to anyway, and sometimes it works out. Most of the time it doesn't. So maybe they can try to take Alvin Kamara away now that Drew Brees is not going to be back there trying to pick teams apart. But the defense is going to have to be the anchor of this team. This could be Sean Payton's best year as a head coach. Like his best coaching job could be this year. I know he's won a Super Bowl before, but without Drew Brees, this could be a really telling year and career making situation for him. So I like the Saints probably to go. I'm kind of leaning between 9-8 and 10-7. I'm going to say 10-7, even though I really don't. Man, I'm going to say 9-8. 9-8 Saints. They do not make the playoffs, but they do finish above 500. So.
All right, Mo, New Orleans Saints.
Sean Payton, speak for itself. One of the greatest offensive minds we know. I think this is going to be his greatest coaching job for what he has, what he lost. I think it's going to be his greatest coaching job. Quarterback-wise, I think Jameis Winston is going to take his job. He has to take his job. But let me say that. But Jameis Winston is going to take the job. He's going to be okay. You go down the line, running back-wise, Kamara, Murray, Freeman, they're okay at the running back position. Thomas, outside of Thomas, you got to find something. Smith, he'll be okay. You got Montgomery, some of these other receivers. Offensive line is great. Defense, you go Cam Jordan. He's been consistent all his career. Malcolm Jenkins, Lattimore, you gotta see what's going on. PJ Williams, they done what they had to do. My biggest concern is the offense. I mean, the defense, I think it'll get stops, but offensively, you're not concerned with the 6 turnovers in preseason, first game, but I'm concerned. I've never seen the Saints turn the ball over like that. So I understand people be like, oh, it's preseason, you do stuff, but 6 turnovers and they look bad. It looked like there was no control, there was no leadership. So that's my concern for them. Is that division, has the division grown enough to me to say they can slide? No. But has the NFC overall gotten better? Yes. So I agree with everybody. I would say 7-10, maybe 8-9, but I don't see them in double digits this year. I don't see them getting double digit wins this year.
All right, cool. All right, Corey. The Saints.
All right. Well, as you guys have touched on, when it comes to the Saints, head coach Sean Payton, has a reputation as one of the best offensive minds in the NFL, and I think it's a well-deserved reputation. He's been very good with New Orleans, but again, as you guys mentioned, this year will be a test. Kind of as Craig said, I think that Sean Payton could end up having the best coaching job of his career, and this Saints team could still be hovering at 500. Offensively, the post Drew Brees era begins. His retirement probably a year or two late. We'll see who Payton goes with as his successor. Personally, I think Winston is easily the better of the two quarterbacks. But it does sound like Sean Payton may want to try to make his Taysom Hill experiment work for whatever reason. Ego is really the only thing I can think of there. Then I have no idea why they spent a 4th-round pick on Ian Book out of Notre Dame. I didn't think he deserved to get drafted at all, to be honest. He had a good career at Notre Dame, one of the winningest quarterbacks in the school's history, but it was very apparent while in college. He doesn't have NFL level arm strength. So to spend a draft pick that high on a guy like that, that's, you know, his ceiling is a backup journeyman, like it just doesn't make sense, especially in a year where, you know, they had a ton of salary cap issues and needed all of their draft picks to be able to contribute this year. I digress. Elsewhere on the offense, obviously, as you guys said, offensive line should be plenty good. Losing Emmanuel Sanders and Jared Cook is going to hurt. Their wide receiver depth after Michael Thomas isn't great. You know, guys like Smith, Harris, Callaway, they've been able to make plays in Peyton's offense when need be, but that's been as more of like a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. You know, can they step up and be potentially wide receiver 1 or 2? I don't know. As James mentioned, you know, Thomas is still pretty unhappy with New Orleans. Sounds like he wants out. It's a bit of an ugly situation, and they're back and forth through the media. So we'll see how that ends up, but I would be a little surprised if Michael Thomas is on that roster next year, barring them going out and winning the bidding war for Aaron Rodgers. You know, Kamara and Murray should get a lot of touches this year. I would fully expect Sean Payton to get creative and use both of those on the field at the same time, a healthy amount. You know, I think because Sean Payton's going to have to get creative to generate some offense for this team. That's where they're at right now. Defensively, I kind of think you got to start with the guys they lost to the salary cap hell they were in going into the offseason. I mean, it was a combo of starters and depth guys. They did go defensive heavy in the draft. Warner in the second round. I really like the Adebo pick in the third round. They do still have some really good guys across that defensive roster. You know, Cameron Jordan, Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Davenport, Marcus Williams. But depth is going to be tested this year. You know, in the past when Breeze missed a couple games, you know, the defense was able to step up and carry this team. A lot is going to be asked on this defense. I think the offense isn't going to carry its weight at times. So even more is going to be asked of this unit that is not going to be as deep as it has been in previous years. So, you know, can they answer that call? Overall, you know, I think this was a team last year that had Sean Payton bench Drew Brees for Jameis Winston at halftime in their playoff game. I think they would have beat Tampa Bay. That's how good of a team that I think the Saints had last year. This is going to be a different team. You know, they're going to be relying on their defense to keep them in games, and I'm just not sure if they're going to be able to hold up over the course of a 17-game season. And then if Jameis turns into the turnover machine we saw 2 years ago, it's going to be a very long season. When I went through and picked games, I ended up being pretty tough on the Saints. I had them actually at like 3-14. Looking at the schedule, looking at their roster, there's no way they're going to do that. The schedule starts tough, but it does end pretty favorably. I'm not sure they're going to be a playoff team. I'm going to go with 8-9, and they're going to be in another tough spot going into next year.
All right.